No intro, just vibes. We're going straight into it because there's a lot to talk about and a lot went wrong. I can't lie, a lot went wrong. First of all, before I go into Spurs and what I think went wrong with Spurs, I'm gonna have to talk about Everton very quickly because I've got to give them huge credit, okay? Everton fielded a very, very strong team. They played their three new signings, Alan, Doucouré and Rodriguez, started them all off, which I was quite surprised by. I thought potentially one of them, James, might be on the bench, or Doucouré or someone, just to ease them in since they've been there for pretty much a week and a half, but no, he threw them straight in the team and there was no question about it. All three were different class. So I've got to give credit where credit's due. Everton played brilliantly. All right, throughout the whole game, they seemed to control it. I mean, second half, they controlled a lot more than the first. I think the first was a lot more even between the two teams, but they certainly did control us totally for the second half. James just oozes creativity. He's played every single long ball, through ball, found a player straight away. Alan, very, very solid. Stopped any of our midfielders whenever we had midfielders from trying to get through to the defence. And also, Doucouré, box to box, great performance from him all around. So you know what, the whole team performed very well. Big credit to Everton because they outclassed us for most of that game. So I've got to give them credit where credit's due. And now on to why Spurs were so bad and what we need to do going forward. For me, I think it was a case of Everton have had a much better window so far, right? They've gone and realised that their midfield was probably their weakest point in their team. They've got Digne left back, phenomenal. Coleman, good right back. I mean, Mina, Keane, maybe not necessarily the best centre-back partnership in the league, but a fairly solid. And you'd argue that Pickford has been pretty poor last season, but today he was phenomenal. He stopped a good few chances for us, so fair credit to him. He had another good game. And then their front line, when they've normally got Richarlison and calvert-lewin, very solid, but their midfield normally isn't that great, especially with the decline of Sigurdsson not playing to the standard he used to for Everton. So they addressed that. They addressed that perfectly, spent 70 million in total for all three. Bearing in mind, pretty much all three of them in their prime, or Doucouré going into his prime, and they just fixed everything. You've got a box-to-box midfielder, you've got a holding midfielder, and you've got a creative attacking midfielder / winger in Rodriguez. So they've addressed all their problems perfectly, whereas I still think we haven't done all of ours. Yes, we addressed the issue at right back, got Doherty in, brilliant. Yes, we kind of addressed the issue with defensive midfielder by bringing Højbjerg in, as he's a very defensive-minded centre-back. I wouldn't say he's an all-out DM, but he's the closest we've got to one since Wanyama, basically. So we kind of fixed that issue. However, we still haven't brought in the striker. I still think we need a better left back, and we haven't replaced Vertonghen at centre back, because for me, Dyer, Toby is not the one. Toby, Sanchez, potentially, we don't know. We need to see when Sanchez starts again. Potentially in the next game, we'll find out. But either way, I still think we need a top quality centre-back. And not only that, we know we need a creative midfielder. The only one we seem to have in our team is Lo Celso, because Dele now plays almost like a second striker just off of Kane. So he's not really playing that attacking mid-role anymore that he used to do. He's further forward, more like a centre-forward, really, more than anything. So and obviously since Lo Celso didn't play, we totally lacked creativity in midfield. Now, what I think started to go wrong for Spurs, because the first half, I think we did okay. I think we did well. We were matching Everton toe for toe. If anything, we had a slight edge on them in the chances. I think we had three very good chances to score, whereas they had one absolute clear cut. I don't know how Richarlison missed chance. So overall, I think we had more chances to score, but it's easily same thing. They could have buried some as well, right? So fairly even first half. Second half, as soon as we subbed Dele off for Sissoko, it was game over. This is hard to explain. I tried to explain this on Twitter to people. As an individual performance, I don't think Dele Alli did too well, because his touch wasn't great, and I think the midfield three in general of Højbjerg, Winks and Dele couldn't string a pass together to save their lives. However, what Dele did offer us were the runs off of Kane, which kind of freed Kane up a little bit, and it just gave us some more options going forward. So it's those things that Dele can offer us. If you're gonna sub Dele off for not having a great performance, you have to replace him with an attacking midfielder like Ndombele, who's more attacking than the midfielders that we had available, or you bring on Bergwijn, a winger, a forward at least, to try and get that creativity going forward. But what did we do instead? We took on Sissoko, and not only that, we made him play right mid. So we ended up playing a 4-2-2-2 formation, because it ended up being Son and Sissoko out left and right mid, with Lucas and Kane up top. And we've never played that before. It didn't work because we had no one in the middle. Alan just sat perfectly in that huge gap we had in that attacking mid area, and they could control the game easily. From then on, it was pretty much a disaster class from Spurs. Matt Doherty ran out of steam, which is why he got subbed off and we moved to 3 at the back. But you have to remember, he hasn't had a pre-season. He came back from holiday and went straight into 2 international games where he played both games and has probably only had maximum 2 days training at Spurs. So, okay, his fitness might not be there. I think first off, he had an okay performance, a decent performance, a few little sparks, but again, second half, it was tough to see. Højbjerg, I think second half also had a disaster class. First half, not really much to comment. Second half, he made a terrible tackle on Richarlison and just did not perform well. And regarding Kane, I think it was just one of them ones because, like I said, we had no creativity in midfield. There was no service to Kane throughout the whole game. The best chances we had in the first half were moves out wide. And even then, Doherty's chance was because we managed to find Kane. He managed to find Kane in the middle. Kane chipped it over, threw on goal. Happy days. We didn't see any of that the second half, except for when Ndombele came on. Ndombele came on, only had 15 minutes of game time, but with his first touch of the ball, he found Kane instantly, carving open Everton. One pass is quite literally all it took to send it through to Kane in the middle. And I think he did it 2 or 3 times during the game and then just had to go a bit deeper as we changed formation again. So for me, I think the main things that went wrong for us against Everton is we had absolutely no creativity in midfield, because Lo Celso wasn't on the pitch and Ndombele only had 15 minutes of game time, and even then probably I'd say about half of those 15 minutes, so 7 of those minutes, he ended up having to play a bit deeper as it was him and Højbjerg basically playing centre mids. Lack of creativity in attacking midfield, which meant no service to Kane. I think players were knackered by looking at Doherty, and we are yet to see whether he's got the top level defensively. And also what I think was wrong for Spurs is we haven't addressed all the problems at all. The substitutions didn't make sense, taking Dele Alli off for Sissoko. I don't know how Lucas managed to play 90 minutes because Toby Alderweireld completed more take-ons and had more attacking attempts than Lucas did throughout that whole game. And I think that goes to show you what his performance was like. And not only that, Davies very, very nearly gave Richarlison the easy chance that he managed to scuff up somehow. I don't know, but I think Davies had an absolute stinker of a game. So we seriously need to address our left-back issue. We need to address our creativity in midfield issue. Someone like James Rodriguez would have been perfect. 20 mil, that's all it was. I feel like it's that kind of player we need, especially when we need the squad depth. We've got Europa League, we've got League Cup, we've got FA Cup, we've got a countless number of Premier League games all squished together. We need the quality of squad depth. So what I think we need to do is offload the players that we haven't yet. Danny Rose being one of them. I don't know if Carter Vickers needs to go. There's all sorts of players that we need to offload, and then we also have to bring in the striker, a left back in, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Reguilon, the Real Madrid one that us and United are linked with. A quality striker, not just a Ronaldo. We need a quality striker that is looking to the task to compete with Kane or work with Kane. We can't just get anybody as striker, because at the end of the day, we're trying to win these competitions. And I seriously think we need creativity in midfield. Whether that just is we need Lo Celso back and then maybe we're playing on Ndombele further forward, I do not know. But we seriously need to address these issues. And I think that's the main thing that went wrong. I think tactically, second half, Mourinho just did poor. I think the first half was going okay. Wasn't going amazing, but it wasn't going bad either. We had quite a few attempts. As soon as, and he admitted himself, it was a tactical change to take Dele off for Sissoko. As soon as he did that, it just started going downhill, man. We need to seriously buck up ideas. We've got less than a month now, probably about 3 weeks left of the window. We know there's plenty of areas we need to address, and we need to do it sooner rather than later, because if we just wait and wait and wait, we're going to have a terrible September in terms of results. Europa League qualifier, first Europa League qualifier game against the Bulgarian team on Thursday, so I will be streaming that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think went wrong during the game. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section below, or let me know maybe what transfers we need to do before the window closes. And yeah, just got to finish off saying congratulations Everton. I think they just outplayed us totally, came with a game plan, did it solid with the new signings, and we've got a lot to work on. Whether that's just the new players, Højbjerg and Doherty, just getting used to us. I don't know if that's an issue, potentially, but we definitely need to bring in some more quality players and start showing ambition. And I think Mourinho was calling out for it. A quote that he said was, "This is not the team I wanted," or "This is not my team. Something along the lines, basically hinting we're missing stuff. We're missing players. I think a lot needs to be done this window, and if we don't get it done, this is going to be a very, very, very tough season. Like I said, let me know if you agree with all this below. I'll be streaming pretty much every single game watch-alongs on my channel, so if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, like I said, leave comments on what you thought went wrong and what signings you think we need to make going forward. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star.